The following program is presented by the Nerdy Show Podcast Network, geeky programming for all nerds across the multiverse. All Nerdy Show programming is made possible by A Comic Shop, Orlando's #1 comic shop and nerd destination, Nerdapalooza, the world's largest nerd music festival, and with the generous support of listeners like you. For more Nerdy Show podcasts, community forums, and to learn how you can support this and other fine Nerdy Show programming, visit nerdyshow.com.
This is Dan Aykroyd, happy to be on Nerdy Show.
Welcome to Nerdy Show, a weekly podcast dedicated to every facet of nerddom, from comics and video games to science and technology. If it's geeky, we've got it covered. And this is Cap, and I am actually a man on the street right now. I'm in downtown Orlando, and I'm headed to the Ghostbusters firehouse, where the Central Florida Ghostbusters are camped out. I see Doug right there. You know Doug, he works with Nerdy Show. He's one of the hosts on Nerdy Show. Hey, Doug.
Yo, what's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. I'm glad to finally be getting this interview, and we're going to be talking to the Central Florida Ghostbusters, finally, the guys who've saved the world at least once.
Yeah, the details are, they're still forthcoming. It's, there's a little bit of statute of limitations of what we're allowed to talk about, but we will say, yeah, you guys have read the papers, you know. It's at least once here in Central Florida, so...
in a big, scary kind of pyramid out of nowhere sort of way.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the guys are inside. We're ready to talk to you. It's exciting. I'm glad this is finally happening. It's been a long time. So.
Yeah. So this is a very unconventional episode of Nerdy Show. You guys have suggested some microsode topics that have been sort of spooky, so we've got 4 of them we're going to do. We're going to talk some spooky microsodes with the Central Florida Ghostbusters and also interview them. So this is going to be a 2-part Halloween special. And here we go. We're walking up to the firehouse now.
Perfect to do it now because things get really busy in October. That's always the busiest time of the year.
Really?
Well, it's also because there's a lot of hoaxes at the time. A lot of people on Halloween, close to Halloween, they think they're seeing things that are just people dressed up. But typically, there is also a higher rate of... Well, they'll explain why. There's actually a higher rate of psychokinetic energy. Wait. Hey, guys!
I should mention, Doug is the general manager for Central Florida Ghostbusters. I completely forgot to mention that.
Well, yeah. I've been general manager. They only brought me on recently. Before that, they were kind of doing it on their own. But after, saving the world, they were my friends beforehand. So after saving the world and everything was going crazy, they needed someone to help out around the firehouse. So thankfully, I was free, so I was able to help out.
And they're playing the new Turtles game, Out of the Shadows.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of a little bit distracted, but yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hey, guys, you guys ready to go? Cap's here.
Briggs is just gonna get us through it anyway.
Today was a little slow, so I don't want anyone getting the wrong impression that these guys are lazy. Well, they actually do work very hard when the time comes.
You're very lazy. Especially mine.
Briggs. I guess we'll head into the kitchen, and I guess we can conduct an interview in here.
Yeah, sure.
You actually had kind of unfortunate timing because Nina was supposed to be here, but she actually is walking Tobin at the moment. She should be back in a few minutes, but we'll see if she can make it back in time.
Tobin's the ghost dog I've been hearing about.
He's not a ghost, but he is a ghost dog. He does hunt ghosts.
What the hell does that mean?
He bites ghosts.
Dogs generally are pretty good at sensing basically occult-related things. It's well documented. But all it is in this case is if you bring a dog with the Ghostbusters, he's going to help you out. I mean, that's really... It's like why firemen have dogs.
Yeah.
Or why cops have dogs, even.
No. There's an entirely different reason for that.
Although I will say he is a significantly bigger contributor to our team than some of our actual human members.
That's not true at all.
Look, he listens a lot better.
He's very good at listening
He's
to
a team player.
Look,
When you have to say who it is, he just automatically speaks up to defend himself.
Look, I'm just saying, if you would have let me hook up my proton pack to that power supply, it would have worked.
What would have worked?
Some introductions are definitely in order. Mm-hmm. I guess in clockwise for myself and Doug.
Everyone already knows me, but sitting to my left is...
LaForge.
Poole.
Wall.
Briggs.
And that's the Ghostbusters, not the entire team that saved Central Florida, perhaps the world, last year. You guys had another member, Bjornstad.
Yeah. He's in semi-retirement.
He died.
No, he did not die. I assure you he's still alive. He's very happy with his new lady friend.
It was he went out on bad terms with Briggs, so he's dead to him.
And that he got lucky.
Hey, look, I brought something great from Europe. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm really glad to be finally talking with you guys. I mean, like, local celebrities that you guys know how long I've been trying to get this interview.
Yeah.
So,
We couldn't be bothered.
Thank you, Briggs. I appreciate your candor.
But in all seriousness, things have been very busy.
We were very
and
busy.
That's why we couldn't be bothered.
Doug was telling me that there is actually a rush around Halloween. You know, like, obviously it's a spooky holiday, there's the solstice and all that, but I'm surprised to hear that it actually does, in fact, sync up with ghost activity.
Well, I think a lot of it is also, sure, we have lots of people messing with us and calling in prank calls and stuff, but, you know, we have a great reputation, public relations and stuff, that, the one time we don't respond to someone calling saying that they just got scared by a monster and it turns out it's a class 7 world ender. And we're just like, yeah, it's your husband.
Well, it's also hard to tell, like, when a call comes in, it's hard to tell when something is just a hoax or someone's just drunk or if it is a legit problem, and that's why
all three.
Yeah, or all three at the exact same time. So there's been a lot of times where you guys would have to go out and it's just a complete hoax.
Where was that alligator? The dog?
The one in Titusville?
Yeah, one in Titusville.
Yeah.
That alligator didn't happen on Halloween, and it wasn't a hoax.
Well,
It was a real alligator. It wasn't a ghost, the guy was just confused.
Well, whatever.
The point is that, yeah, in general, there's a lot of hoaxes, and there's also psychokinetic activity, but in Halloween, both go up from people who think
We're
they're
not
seeing
boring.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only it's,
We don't get to Halloween parties.
yeah.
I mean, well, ghosts, from what I understand, aren't dead people anyway. It's just psychokinetic energy, and when everybody is kind of turning into the occult, even faking it for Halloween, it has an effect.
Mm-hmm.
So idiot college kids with Ouija boards will sometimes set off accidental psychokinetic reactions that manifest themselves.
They're generally our first indicators. They think they're just doing it to each other and it's fake. That's one of our best warning signals.
I would say that with things like Ouija boards and stuff, we're safe to say how we really feel about fake science and fake ghost hunters. There's a lot of BS like that.
What was that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I thought I heard something over there.
Well, the sad thing is...
Photographing orbs.
Yeah, but and all that can be BS, but the sad thing is that sometimes that can trigger something that's already underlined that otherwise would not have been triggered.
Right. I went out with some people photographing orbs once in college. It was the dumbest shit of all time. The best part was Mike from Nerdy Show found a headstone shaped like a small motorcycle and wrote it for a little bit.
Oh, there we go. Worth the trip.
Yeah, it's like when you get reflections of dust in your lens, it's really not quite the same as seeing a full torso free-roaming vapor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a beautiful snowflake, but yeah, I can see how it would be different.
I mean, our experience with seeing what we, see versus
Like spectral tigers.
Like spectral tigers, yes.
Like that, yeah.
except
they're
it
not
was he who will not be named. We don't talk about it. We don't say his name.
I mean, we got him locked up in the
Are you-
containment unit.
Wait, hold on a sec. Nerdy Show also has a ghost that we typically don't name. It's been a while since we had any problems with it, though. I'm curious if it was the same thing.
I would hazard to say no.
Yeah, this guy, we don't say his name 3 times.
He looked.
Don't even give a hint, because if somebody figures it out...
There's a lot of ghosts.
Does it rhyme with Dukabus?
No.
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 Because if someone figures it out, it's a whole world of hurt.
Well, think about it this way. There's 3 very famous ghosts that follow that criteria. So it's one of them. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
good.
That's a
All
good way, yeah.
Our problem typically leads to a kind of jinx, but the thing is that the member of Nerdy Show that actually has a history with this spirit is now dead, so we don't really know what's the situation with that anymore. This was actually before you guys came into town, so... and it's never been anything that we call into bust exactly.
I was going to say, well, here's our business card.
Yeah. You guys went to Europe recently.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of details have come out about what exactly went on over there.
We saw some stuff. Some stuff that I
will
didn't think...
never be mentioned ever again.
We'll just say that congratulations are in order for Briggs.
And in all seriousness, yes, congratulations are in order for Briggs.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I'm going to kill all of you.
A genuine congratulations for how things wound up for you.
Oh well, I mean that. Yes, I mean.
I was intentionally saying that to rib at him, but yes.
Yeah, we came, we saw
We went to Germany and saw a bunch of dirty alleyways. We didn't try anything else cool in Germany. France, we went to Paris, and then we were involved a little bit in the sewer, so that was wonderful.
I can't say we did have some pretty good gourmet food while we were in Paris.
We did.
I'm just gonna say that I have a werewolf buddy now, which I didn't think I'd ever say. You know, we were friends.
That's true.
They're mortal enemies up until this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
It turned out pretty all right.
Oh, that's another situation that I have some knowledge about. Nerdy Show's had werewolf problems way more than we've had ghost problems. Now, I didn't think that was anything you guys would deal in.
Yeah, neither.
That's
Turned out they were all related.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So wow. Again, before you guys came onto the scene, so nothing I would have called you guys about, but it's definitely the jury's still out on if this is ever going to come back to haunt us. So I maybe in the future, so you guys are in the werewolf busting business now.
I think the problem is that they're as far.
Well, did you say it's a misconception that werewolves are even a separate entity other than something like?
I don't know for sure because in my studies of the occult, when we encountered the original werewolves, we tried looking up everything we could, contacting the
living relative of Van Helsing.
Yeah, the living relative of Van Helsing, and contacting the New York Ghostbusters. And it seems like lycanthropy jumps around from being a medical condition to being a possession to being a curse to being a disease. So it's hard to nail that down. Maybe there's more than one cause of lycanthropy.
There are many subtle levels.
We're in the werewolf friending business.
There you go. That's
friending.
Because before we became a Ghostbuster, I understood lycanthropy as being a man just goes insane. Like, you know, there's well-documented cases about
Takes
people...
off his clothes.
Well, most of the stuff in history probably is.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Probably.
You know, very rarely would it actually probably be something psychokinetic related.
Are you guys familiar with the website wolfdads.org?
No.
Well, you had Josh's attention.
Is that like bearuncles.com?
I'm not familiar. It sounds like it might be similar. It's a place for werewolves, older gentlemen werewolves, to meet young cubs, as they call them, like unindoctrinated would-be werewolf, nubile young werewolf children.
We just tell.
I think that may be an entirely different problem.
Yeah,
that may be a problem for the police.
You would be surprised. It seems like it's a little bit of both, and we've had some trouble with. I guess one of the chairmen of that website, hopefully dead on the front of a car. But
tell us how you really feel.
Baby Cakes, from what I remember, said that wolf men don't need wolf ladies to make wolf boys.
Have you just quoted China, Illinois?
Hey,
I'm just joking. I literally know nothing about how werewolves.
I hear cat people run like the wind.
Yeah,
and also screw like the wind.
They definitely do. I haven't encountered any cat people. Werewolves.
Well, I mean, I'm good at hitting things, dog-like creatures in my car.
That's true. Yeah.
That's a very sad thing to say.
When you say I'm good at hitting dog-like creatures with my car. Anyone who doesn't know what you're talking about just thinks you're talking about dogs.
Should the SPCA be contacted about you guys' dog? What are you saying here?
We got a license.
Yeah, we have a
working dog.
No, a license to hit dogs with your car?
No. He's talking about Tobin. He is licensed as a work dog.
Yeah.
So it's okay to hit him with a car?
No.
It's not okay to hit anybody with a car.
Well, no.
Well, except for the guy who runs Wolf Dads.
There we go.
The exception to the rule.
You brought it back full circle. Now we're back on track.
Okay, now how much are we getting paid for it?
We'll see. If I have any other problems, you guys will be the first I call, because honestly, we're not prepared to deal with this shit again. Some things got very, very serious for us in the past.
We stumbled our way through it decently.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys, I guess you're not going into full detail about Europe.
The problem is that a lot of it's caught up in international politics for reasons we can't really go into.
There's speculations about things involving. I mean, obviously, you're the Central Florida Ghostbusters, and you pulled up roots, and I assume we're busting ghosts or at least werewolves over in Europe, and typically that's what the international Ghostbusters do.
Yes, typically it is.
It is, yeah.
Typically it is.
Those guys needed some help.
Yeah.
And us being there.
The problem is, I don't know if us talking about it violates any treaty that you shouldn't do this, because we're not allowed. Like, if in America, if we're involved in a criminal investigation, we can't talk about it because it could ruin the case, right? But like, what if us talking about it here ruins the case over there? Are we liable? Like, I have no idea.
Okay, so best not to just say.
Yeah.
Yeah, for now, because I'm sure it'll all come out.
Well, then here's another hot button issue I was wondering if you guys can comment on. There's a rumor going around that you guys busted the ghost of Mr. Richard from Mr. Richard's Land of Imagination.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, you did?
We did have a job at that studio, but
We don't know that it was his ghost.
per se.
Not really. We never really know that for sure, though.
Really, it's client confidentiality. We can't speak too much about that.
We don't know if there was a ghost, really. We all saw some stuff, and it may or may not have been.
It could have been related or unrelated, is what you're saying?
It could have been related or unrelated, and it could or could not have happened at a place.
Or to us.
Yeah.
it was all a dream.
It was a lot like Vietnam. We saw some things, man.
Okay.
All right.
It's a lot like Vietnam.
You
That's not
Mr. Richards.
That's not how I do or do not remember it.
That's ever been said.
Who, if I remember correctly, served in Vietnam, so I don't know if that relates at all. But
And there we go.
one of the things that I want to do with you guys, I'm sure Doug probably told you, is our listeners have the ability to request us to do microsodes, which is 15-minute conversations about a variety of topics. And we selected 4 sort of spooky kind of subjects to discuss with you guys to release for Halloween. And the first one is discussing the SCP Foundation.
Those guys.
Our listener Mauron requested it and said, thanks again for the Large Hadron Collider microsode. After fishing for ideas on the forums, a microsode following the SCP Foundation would be great. We did a Large Hadron Collider episode, talked about a little bit about Dr. Spangler's work with the Bustin colliders and all that stuff.
Important work.
Yeah, well, that obviously. So, SCP Foundation, it's a website cataloging a lot of otherworldly paranormal creatures presumed to be false, but you guys are Ghostbusters, so I was wondering, is any of that above board? Is any of that real?
I don't think so. I read it as entertainment.
I mean, there are a lot of things we encounter that
are
if somebody
similar.
was interested in, they could, submit to this and as part of the entertainment properties. But
But I think like they have containment.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't
procedures.
think
like
Any of that's real.
our containment procedure has 2 steps.
But I don't know. It's fun. It was fun to read. There's a couple that are pretty creepy still reading them, but I think that.
So, are all you guys are familiar with it and have read the website?
Yeah.
Not
I
all
kinda wanted to write
2,000 off the top of my head, but I have definitely flipped through.
We have the human book for that. The Forge.
Apparently that's your new
I'm the
nickname.
human book. we know a Mr. Book. You just called me the human book.
Well, LaForge's a human book. What are some of your favorite SCP creatures?
Well, now I don't want to say that one of them's a book. Actually, the book has anomalous properties, but it's not really a creature. It's a book that's written purely in blood, that's not finished, and it chronicles the history of the Devas, which is a fictional race of human-like people that enslaved all of humanity. And right before you get to the part where
Scientologists?
No. Fictional. They're like Thetans. They enslave humanity, but right before where you get to it ends, humanity kind of finds a way to overthrow them. But the problem is, if you spill blood around it, you add to the book, and they find a new way around it until it's finished writing.
Huh.
So
It's like so every time like blood gets spilled onto a page, it soaks it up, and then words pop up. Then it's like whatever.
But the thing is, people go back to archaeological sites that have already been dug after things have been added to the book, and they find new artifacts that support that
new continuity.
The new continuity of this book, saying that it actually, like, kind of saying that it did really happen, but humanity keeps winning. Well, the problem is it's
closer and closer to modern
closer
day.
and closer to
Okay.
present day, and they found it when a historian. It was completely exsanguinated in his house with both wrists slit, no blood whatsoever in his body, with a note that just said, "I'm sorry, I had to know."
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
And he made bad stuff happen for how many years then? Like by pouring your entire bloodstream onto a page? Like
I don't know. Well, I think you can argue that none of it has happened, but if it reaches present day, it'll start to.
Right.
Like they will have always existed.
Right.
Because they just put it in a locker and then threw it's a safe artifact.
It's eerie to me hearing you as someone who deals with the paranormal professionally talking about something from SCP, which sounds like a serious fucking problem were it real.
But it's not.
But it's not.
It's not real.
But I don't know. You're so good at talking about this sort of thing that I'm hearing you talking about oh my god. There are archaeological sites. They found that guy with no blood.
No, there's no there's no reference to that ever actually happening. So, thankfully, I mean that's what most occult. You study the occult. It's basically looking for what isn't bullshit. That's all. That's all the occult.
That's a good way of putting it.
You should probably get that on the cover of a book about the occult.
Occult. Looking for what isn't bullshit.
Introduction by Josh LaFleur. Ghostbusters, Central Florida.
I liked a lot of the objects that they have listed on SCP, where it's talking about like the coin that always lands on heads no matter what, and it was melted down afterwards. There's a lot of cool items in there that like.
Are you familiar with the vending machine?
Yeah.
I
love that vending machine.
The vending machine is pretty good.
I want one.
For listeners, it's an all black vending machine that distributes random stuff. Some of it's recognizable edible food. Some of it's completely inexplicable from other countries.
Or dimensions.
Food that just simply doesn't make any sense, and researchers have allegedly eaten it, and nothing's happened.
My 3 favorite entries for that one are the. So they put in like 600 yen, and out comes this little box like Samurai Honor Duel Candy. It's a little black samurai and a little red samurai. And when you place them on a table, they animate and fight. And I guess when they did it, the red one just cut the black one in half and vanished. Then you pick up a piece of the black one and eat it like it's candy. The other is it does different things. Apparently, it does different things based on whether it's powered on or powered off, plugged in,
and how much money
you put in,
and what currency.
Yeah, what currency it is. And I guess someone just put in the dollar slot. They just wrote a note like "I owe you like 300 yen" and put it in. And a bag of like Cape Cod popcorn came out. When they opened it, it was empty. And then they put in another 300 yen. And 31 popped kernels of Cape Cod popcorn came rolling out.
I'm surprised it didn't say, you open up the bag and said, I owe you popcorn.
I think it did, actually. I think
did it? Okay,
yeah.
what to say? It's like, that sounded more in tune with what it was going for.
Yeah. It's funny, because every time they say that, like it seems like it's playing a trick on this. This may suggest sentience. Right. I kind of like the ones like that one. Like there's, I think it's like 934 or whatever, whichever one it is. But it's definitely not sentient. It's just a giant machine.
Oh yeah.
Put things in, and stuff comes out.
They can't figure out how it works. They've put lots of tests in it.
They've had people crawl into the machine and look and investigate, but it's different every time. And always changing.
That's a different machine.
Are you sure? I thought with the gears and everything.
Yeah. No, that's a different machine.
They did try with the first.
No, I mean with the different settings, where it's like fine setting.
Yeah, there's only an input box, and when they put a person in there, and selected 1-to-1, it came out as just a different person, same weight.
Yeah. What are some ones that you think are like either really funny or like really scary?
The funny one is bugs.
Oh yeah.
Bugs.
I mean, that one is a joke. Like anything that has J on the end of it is a joke.
Except for joke.
Those are the ones that are fictional. The rest of them, are.
But the bugs are real.
200 meters, wherever.
For scary, I like the blood pool because it's basically this big, very large area that's just a red pool somewhere up in, I think, Alberta, Canada.
Uh-huh.
And basically what happens is these otherworldly animals come out of it that are similar to ours, like cats and whatnot, but look distinctively alien. And they built this massive, like, multi-tiered wall fortress around it, basically, to kill them as they come out. And slowly but surely, they start off kind of tame, but it's gotten to the point where they more or less had to abandon the entire facility because the things coming out of it now are just wiping everything out, and they just can't stop it.
Like uber animals or whatever,
basically,
like super strong monsters.
Yeah, like
they've done like expeditions down into the pool.
They did, yeah, and the entire expedition. I think most of the expedition people died on it.
Pretty sure all of them did.
Yeah, through like madness and whatnot, and
kaiju are just gonna come crawling out.
Basically, yeah. They heard like a roar, in the distance, and they just never heard it, but they just slowly lost their minds. That one was really interesting. And what about the one with the stairs? In the face.
Oh, that one's pretty good too. It's just like this. You just keep going down a staircase over and over and over, and there seems to be no end of it. But eventually, you'll come across a face that will chase you up the stairs.
Like Mario 2.
Yeah,
Phantom.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
And there's the other one. What is it like? It's like a cupboard or something, or a door.
Like a cabinet, right?
cabinet
I think I know what
you
you're
go
talking about.
through.
Yeah.
And they have
There's an Indian.
Yes, there is an Indian.
There's a wardrobe. It leads to an area where there's a fawn and under a street light.
This one does lead to an area, but it's not a pleasant one. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, it's got really weird architecture. Like I don't know, is it like what do you even call it? Like Euclidean?
I would call it like Silent Hill style. Like,
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking
There's
about.
like that,
and
weird,
there's like banging, like it's all metal and grates and like rusted stuff, and there's like lights with grates around them that are blown. It's just like Silent Hill.
But like, isn't there like this big, like almost like large, gigantic baby-esque thing that chases?
That's a different one.
that's a different way.
Okay, okay, that one's.
That one's a whole
That was
like there's a
terrifying,
whole
yeah.
there's a whole series on how they've reached that area, like that alternate dimension.
I will say, I mean, personally, any of the ones that really creep me out are normally children related. It's like there's the one that's just called like The Little Girl, and she it's just a girl who's in containment somewhere who looks like she's 3 years old, and it, like the description is, oh, must have this much room to run around and toys and books or whatever. But whenever they put anybody in the room with her, they interact normally, but within a couple minutes they just start desperately wanting to hurt her. And they just need to kill this girl. They start going absolutely crazy, and then whenever they reach out towards her, they have a heart attack and die. And any damage that they do to her just heals instantly. And when asked about it, the little girl has no idea what they're talking about. She's just a little girl playing.
No Face, right? The one where they keep a black bag around his face the entire time.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, they don't keep a bag around. You're talking about it's just total darkness in his room.
Total darkness and no cameras in the room. And
If anybody
looks at
knows that they've seen his face, if anybody's seen his face,
he will literally run through a wall. And it's kind of sketchy. You don't. It's not confirmed, but it seems like it implies that it literally rapes you to death.
The origin
Something
of
like
that.
If that's what I'm thinking about, that's what they ripped off for Doctor Who, right?
I have no.
For the
No,
Weeping
it's
Angels?
there's a different one. The original one, like the statue in the corner of the room. If you don't,
You
have to maintain eye contact. If you
yeah.
break eye contact, even by blinking,
it snaps your neck and kills you.
like instantaneous.
the problem is they have to constantly clean its holding chamber because there's like feces and blood that just accumulates and they have no idea where it comes from.
The one Briggs is talking about is I think the origin for that was someone was fucking around on Google Earth, and they found this guy has this backyard apartment, and on his balcony is just this statue with a face on it, and people are like, this is a really weird looking statue, and people are making like stories.
I've seen this one.
And then
it's like the tribal statue
and then
thing.
Google introduced that technology where they determine, oh well, if we're driving around doing Google Earth stuff and we get a picture of someone's face, it auto blurs. So someone went back to find it, and its face was completely blurred out, and they're like, oh, that'd be a really cool story because its face is blurred out because it knows that if you've seen it, it comes to kill you.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was the inspiration for the SCP.
But that's
This thing is if anybody sees its face, it's Shy Guy is what they call
Shy
it.
Guy.
Shy
Guy.
Yeah,
Mario 2 again.
if anything sees him, he just makes a straight line. Just it break all containment, can't hurt him.
Yeah.
But they have the other SCP, those little two floating eyeballs that they'll bring in with them sometimes because those things cannot blink.
Yeah,
they're little sentient, like they have the intelligence like a puppy or something.
They look like Teletubby eyeballs.
Yeah, and they can't blink, and they can climb walls and stuff, and they're generally considered peaceful. Like they don't seem to have any malintent. So what they'll do is the janitorial crew will go in there, and those little eyeballs will go and like angrily stare at that thing to keep it in the corner while the janitor does his business, and roll at it afterwards. But I always figured, why can't you just
that job, man?
clean up the shit in the SCP cage?
The shit in the thing that will murder
I don't know
if you blink.
It must pay really well. But I always thought, like, why couldn't you just, like, have one guy stand in the corner and just cover one eye, then the other eye, so one eye is always open instead of having to... Because if you blink both eyes at the same time, you're dead. So why not just blink one eye at a time, back and forth?
It's hard to do for an extended period of time.
It is. Or why don't they just, move him into a location where they don't have to send a janitor in, just automatically turn the hose on?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It's a fictional thing. I'm just saying. Why don't we know?
Because obviously it makes a better story that way.
Well,
but that Walt brings up a good point. I think most of the SCP stuff is just really where it's like.
Oh, and I guess we should mention, should have mentioned ages ago, it stands for Secure, Contain, Protect.
Right,
Yes,
which are the
yes.
3 different, I guess, not classes, but like the way that they interact with these things.
Yeah.
And I always thought this was kind of cool about it. It's basically a reverse meme where like they take a random picture and then they write the story behind it. So
Right,
it's just like these
right.
pictures that appear on the internet, like you said, and then
The
it's
creepy
like,
stuff, yeah.
okay, that could be creepy, but even creepier if it means this.
I mean-
and then let's lock it away because bad stuff will happen.
Case in point, Slender Man.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, actually. Well, the concept of Slender Man's become just ingrained into like the public consciousness these days, and I'm wondering is there any truth to it at all, or is it just purely a creation of the internet?
I think something awful is a very powerful force.
I posted in that thread, actually.
The original.
We have an internet celebrity.
Yeah.
Florida celebrity.
No, pages and pages in, someone was like, guys, what if we pitch like a movie idea for this? And 2 posts down was just a poster of Slender Man and just, Slender Man. And the tagline is, he exists because you thought of him. Try not to think of him.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I read a creepy SCP the other day. In the SCP, there's this town in Russia that apparently nobody dies in this town. And if you visit there, everybody's super friendly and just like, yeah, or whatever. But if you start letting on that you know that nobody dies, they get super uncomfortable and maybe will try to kill you to keep it a secret. So in like the 20s or whenever, SCP fell abreast of this information and decided to contain the town. Well, the town fought back like with guns and but eventually the SCP's resources are infinite, so they basically took control of it. What they found out is there's no children, but every generation or so they will plan to have children, prepare their homes for children, and then one of them will get pregnant, and then they'll have a kid, raise it to about the age of 8. Then they disappear with the kid into a shed or something, or some secluded area. Something happens, they leave, no kid. And when they walk out, they look completely rejuvenated and refreshed. Like, that's kind of creepy on its own way. You can imagine, a blood ritual. Well, except for one day they decide they're all going to break containment, and they stage a war to try to break containment to get free, and they fail after hundreds of SCP Foundation members die. And they interview the guy who led the attack. It's like, what's wrong? And he's like, well, my last daughter, the one that we had, she wasn't really acting normal. And I didn't know why. She was very sad all the time. I thought maybe it's depression. I don't know. And then one day when she's 8 years old, she looks up at me and she says, why did you do that to me, Daddy? And he goes, and in that moment I realized that she looks exactly like my 4th daughter. And then he broke down in tears and he would stop talking.
Wow.
It's creepy.
Yeah, I generally gotta chill.
We should probably say, what are some funny, the really funny ones? I'll talk to the bugs.
The bugs, yeah.
But what's
God.
the other, really, the one that's God, yeah, is funny.
There's the harmless robot that thinks it's like a megalomaniac.
Right.
It's like, I am Shiva the Earth Ender. And anything that it perceives to be conscious, it will try to attack. But it is completely ineffectual. They once put a potted
plant with a speaker in it. And someone on the other end was on the microphone being like,
hello,
hey.
I'm a fern. Who dares? It rolls over to it and tries to twist one of the leaves, but it falls over and the plant falls on it.
There was that. I also love the...
Why hasn't there been an SCP film? Why
there needs... Well,
some of these ideas are so great. I just want to see them committed to video.
Whoever makes the film is going to get, barraged by all the people on the internet, because it belongs to the internet. It doesn't belong
just say
to...
written by the internet.
Well, let's be fair.
Take no credit for
Cabin in the
yourself.
Woods is pretty much SCP with a weird...
Well, the problem, too, is
Yeah,
they deal with this on
military
their
twist
FAQ. They feel like it'd be kind of out of the spirit of things. So.
I don't know. Well, they talk about containment videos. They have all these pictures. Where's the video, asshole?
That's true.
Candle Cove. Candle Cove is an amazing piece of creepypasta, unless it's actually real. You guys are giving me this kind of weird look. That has some video representation. None of it's good enough, unless it's real.
Marble Hornets,
Yeah.
Right.
That's true, yeah. It's a good point. Is Slender Man SCP? I know he was invented on the internet.
I don't think so.
I don't think you can contain or secure him.
I think there's a separate section for anomalous phenomena.
Oh, hold on. Nina's not back yet. I gotta answer the phone. I'm sorry. Just give me 1 second.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I don't know. The thing about Slender Man is that type of energy could technically come together if enough people are... what is... that Egon's always talking about, collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Or like if everybody's afraid of this
Egon, he's on a first name basis with Dr. Stable. Listen to Big Shot here.
We've had dinner with them.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I just feel a little uncomfortable.
That's
guys, we have to go. There's a call. I'm sorry, Cap. I don't know if we're ending this now or what's the deal, but you guys have to go right now.
So you come with?
Well, I mean, there's no reason we have to stop the interview. Do you have some time?
Well, I set aside the whole evening for this, so...
Do you want to see a bust?
Do you want a bus?
That would be amazing.
We need to go.
Is that okay? I mean, do we need to clear the city or something? Or
We'll worry about it later.
If anyone's gonna blow up the city, it's gonna be me.
Okay.
Let's go, scare up.
This is I'm really stoked, guys. So as long as this is protocol.
Oh, I carry the beach kit.
It's in the car. Get going.
What? No, it's fine. Don't trip, Wall.
All right, I'm gonna follow you guys in my car. I'm just gonna call Nina, make sure she gets the details. She's gonna radio ahead with you guys. Just get going now, okay?
We'll take a walk.
Go, 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 go!
Is it working? Test.
We haven't had anyone sit here since Bjornstad. This is nice.
Let's hit the siren.
It's cozy in here. Yeah, that might be a problem for recording. We'll run with it.
That's fine. Alright.
Yeah, she's an oldie but a goodie.
Hey guys, look at Ferrari. Oh, look at that Ferrari. GTO.
We are not having the Ecto fun. If you get a Ferrari as a new Ectomobile, I get a motorcycle.
I'm completely
mobile
okay with that.
containment unit.
I get a G6 Jet.
I'm just saying, with a motorcycle, little sidecar for Tobin, little helmet.
Well, it'd be a good way to transport around a mobile containment unit instead of a dog. You know?
Not as adorable, though.
Well, yeah.
Well, I guess we could, in theory, move on to some of the other topics of conversation. We got horror movies, horror video games.
I hope this is a spider ghost.
Right.
Oh, what is a spider?
Poole, turn up your walk.
What's that?
How's that work? Is it a ghost that's shaped like a spider? What are we talking here?
Yeah, totally a ghost. I mean, Poole loves spiders and ghosts. Spider ghosts especially.
I hate all of these things.
I hate all those things too. I really hope it's not that.
I really hope it is.
I mean...
Hey guys, don't be too excited. If this call was about the abandoned hospital... Anyways, good luck.
Sorry, man. This probably isn't going to be as exciting.
I'm done. I'm not driving now. My hands are off the wheel. I'm done.
Grab the wheel.
I'm done. I'm done.
Kill the siren. We don't need it.
Turn it off.
Really? Do we have to? Turn it off.
Nobody lives in that hospital.
Fine, it's on.
There's nobody working there. Nobody lives there. We don't. It's not an emergency.
Does that mean I get to drive through the walls?
No.
What?
Do you own it?
So you're going to kill us?
No.
You guys let him drive?
Yeah, it's a mistake I regret.
I mean, like, why? Like, is this a normal position in the vehicle?
I'm
Like,
really good at it. Hey, we wouldn't have gotten out of there when we fought Itzcoatl if it wasn't for me.
We wouldn't have gotten out of
Anyways,
there.
so this unfortunately
let's not even
is
talk about Europe.
this hospital we get called out to on a semi-regular basis. This is what, once last week too, and there's nothing out there. It's
Never
just
anything.
Yeah, people like to go out there, hang out, and scare the crap out of each other, and it's an empty building.
But even if there was, who cares? Who's calling it in? You know, who's calling in the abandoned ghost trespassers? That's who.
Hey, do you think we can slime them this time? Just slime some punk kids.
It does
I don't
make
think they'll
them
still be there.
easier to escort off the premises. That's true, but that's not our job. We escort ghosts off premises, not punk kids, which is all we're gonna run into.
I don't want to escort them. I just think it'd be funny. You know, good times.
I think the problem too is that like we've had a couple instances where kids will like jump out at us because they want to call us and like pretend to be ghosts.
well, that's a way to get your ass fucking killed.
Yeah, they don't realize the proton beam that comes out of the neutrino wand is nuclear fire. Essentially, it will cut you in half like the apes at the end of Congo.
So this hospital, it's like it's a place that people go to like scare each other. like, oh, let's go to this spooky hospital and
Yeah, sometimes urban explorers go out there and they hear some noises and they give us a call and they're like, hey, there's ghosts, you guys should check it out. And every time we
that's
do,
a raccoon.
Yeah.
one of the topics we actually got from Microsode is fear tourism. So it's not no one's taking money for this, but I mean, it sounds like people are like making it sort of a local spooky hangout, this hospital. So let me get my notes here. Sean Red is the guy who requested this, and he says, I'd like a discussion of the strange intersection of urban exploration and creepy or abandoned locations, with movies such as Silent Hill and the Chernobyl Diaries drawing inspiration from real-world locations such as Centralia, Pennsylvania, or Pripyat, Ukraine, respectively. I wonder if society will experience an increasing amount of what I call fear tourism, where people deliberately travel to dangerous or unsettling locations. Thoughts, feelings, or experiences to share?
Oh, yeah, totally.
If possible, I'd like Hex to host this show. Actually, Sean, I talked with Hex about that, and he said, basically, lol, what? I know absolutely nothing about that. So, I'm sorry. He not only is he too busy.
Apparently, the expert isn't here. Sorry.
He's really inundated with Nerdapalooza pre-production right now, so he couldn't come out. Though he does send his apologies, guys. He did really want to be here, but yeah. So he doesn't know anything about that, Sean. And these guys, I guess, know at least a little bit more.
I mean, that's really how a lot of psychokinetic energy gets generated, is people kind of buy into these ideas. But, like, it's no different from people visiting Auschwitz, to kind of, really see it for themselves, to see how bad something was. It's like we treat areas that are scary more sacred than we ever would something that's, hallowed. Or,
relevant, Fort Christmas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was a place where nothing significant happened, but we definitely busted some stuff there. So, it's just the combination of the energy there. But, I think there's going to be ghost towns where a lot of weird stuff's going to happen. But then there's going to be a lot of just the empty buildings that people find, and then most of it's probably just made up stories. For example, when I went to college at Florida State, there was actually very similar to the place that we're going right now.
Sunnyview.
Yeah, Sunland.
What's it called? Sunland.
Yeah. So, and I went there a couple times my freshman year because it was the thing to do. You're a freshman, you go out to Sunland, and I will say that obviously not equipped with the expensive equipment that we have now, but I felt weird there. There was some cold air, some weird energy, but
dude, I mean, Sunland is famous. It even made it into that weird Florida book, and I've been there, and it's gone now. It was demolished.
There's apartments there now. Yeah,
can you fucking believe it? Like that place was. It is so absurd, that place, that it sounds fake.
Exactly.
It is a mental institution for children where they developed shock therapy.
Yup.
And it's like 5 stories, like completely burnt out, closed for years due to malpractice. I remember there's the whole place is covered in vines, but there's like a day room or something where you could like one of the recreation spaces, and you could see like 1970s era hanging ceiling mounted television,
the giant like CRT monitors.
Yeah, like in Institution Scenes in 12 Monkeys, things like that. It basically looked like that. And like friends of mine who went to FSU were. They talked about going there late at night. There were cultists who hung out there frequently and like did rituals and so on, because like it's all talks about like hearing children's voices. There's a cellar where all kinds of stuff allegedly happened.
There's a shed in the back of it that's just full of children's toys. I mean, talk about walking into a creepy environment. I don't like kids. I'm sorry. Creep me out.
So have you guys ever, I mean, I don't know that Orlando has many spaces like that. Like, is this thing somewhat comparable to the place we're going? Does it actually have history or what?
Not like Sunland. Definitely not like St. Augustine. I mean, St. Augustine in
oldest
Florida,
city in America.
Oldest city in America. Ghost tours every hour on the hour.
Doesn't the lighthouse have something going on there?
It does.
Yeah. Well, supposedly we haven't been called to St. Augustine.
You would think we'd get more calls out there.
Well, I think the idea is that would hurt their economy.
Yeah, at this point, they've literally built the economy around it. If we came and ruined, and the Ghostbusters are here. Oh, well, awesome. So is, they took our reason to visit.
That's interesting. The town actually has a ghost-based economy. I never thought about that.
It's pretty much the opposite of what everything we stand for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having gone up there and done the ghost tours, it's obviously really, I haven't done it since, again, I have all of this, now that I'm actually busting ghosts. So that would be an interesting field trip for us to go up there and.
Well, I mean, is anybody doing research in you guys' field? Is anybody like? I mean, certainly.
Okay,
it's a hotbed.
I know that they've had the ghost. What are they? Ghost hunters, maybe any of the other. Yeah,
nonsense like that.
But that's.
Cats.
Yeah,
they're all charlatans.
That's the only time I've ever heard you use that word appropriately, Briggs.
Do I use that word often?
No.
But the one time, good job. You used it appropriately. The place that we're heading, though, is nothing. I mean, we go there with our equipment, scan it out. And we've never had.
We can't not investigate. It's like, it's never going to be a boy who cried wolf scenario. Like, we have to go.
Tagging back to some of the fear tourism locations that Sean Red was talking about, Centralia, Pennsylvania, really cool place. I've been wanting to go there for years, long before the Silent Hill film really brought attention to it. It's are you guys familiar with Centralia?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's in the fire started in the coal mines and it's been burning ever since.
Yeah, it's it's actually like a fire from hell.
Yeah.
And it's been the basis for a lot more than Silent Hill. There was a Dan Aykroyd film.
Dan Aykroyd, who's that?
He was on Saturday Night Live back in its genesis.
I know that guy. Yeah.
Coneheads.
Right, he was from Coneheads. Yeah, man, that movie's so good. Guy who directed Ninja Turtles directed that film. Does anyone remember the name of that movie? I can't fucking remember it now.
I don't actually remember the one.
No, not a clue.
What a Dan Aykroyd film?
Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, Demi Moore, John Candy, massive cast.
Hold on, no, that sounds like Nothing But Trouble.
Yeah, Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of things going on in the film. It's a super weird movie, incredible set design. But that was based on Centralia. That was maybe the earliest piece of pop culture based on Centralia. But I've seen pictures of it. I mean, it's just like desolate roads with smoke coming out of the cracks. It looks pretty amazing. I don't know if there's any actual infrastructure for tourism there, though. I think people just kind of go.
Yeah.
It's probably dangerous.
Yeah, probably extremely dangerous. And Pripyat in Ukraine, which is the town outside of Chernobyl,
totally harmless there.
Right? Yeah, no big. That's
earthworms the size of cars.
They actually have organized tourism there to some extent, I believe. Is that a ghost situation over there? Do you guys know? Is Chernobyl just is it just spooky, or is it actually?
Well, the problem is that if enough people go, it can become one.
Yeah.
Because of the way the nature of psychokinetic energy. I mean, if enough people believe that there's something ghostly going on, it could be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Huh. I think that may be one of those situations where you're walking around and it's basically like a movie set that naturally happened. And people want to have all of these creepy things going on there. But like LaForge said, that could totally eventually blossom into that. And but I'm sure our European brethren will totally go take care of that.
They can deal with radiation ghosts. That's fine with me.
Yeah, radiation
ghosts. I just picture like Scooby-Doo, like a guy wearing a hazmat suit running around.
I think about Johnny Quest, where some actually rather disturbing stuff happened, typically with super science.
Yeah.
I really wish we could get involved with super science. I much prefer that to ghosts. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, like if a super science job opens up, then I'm there. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, at least in the realm of fictional super science, you guys familiar with Hashima Island, aka Ghost Island in Japan?
No. I think I've heard of it.
It was featured in an issue of Atomic Robo. But it's a real thing, and it's one of 505 uninhabited islands around Japan. And this one in particular, it was basically a small city island that was the entire economy was based around a coal mine on this small island that was closed down. But it's like all urban, early 20th century Japanese structures and all that, completely ruined town, and a really modern ghost town. It's been popular amongst urban explorers, but now they've started to actually acknowledge that and sort of opened up parts of it. But it's very difficult because it's hard to actually secure the buildings. I don't know if there's any actual ghosts there, but I suppose there could be some restless spirits of some sort, because it's been discussed as a World Heritage location, but South Korea is against that because their coal mining facilities used forced Korean and Chinese laborers during World War II.
Well, then there's your negative energy.
Yeah, Japanese ghosts.
It makes me really want to go to that the suicide forest in Japan.
I was just gonna say that.
What's a suicide forest?
It's
basically in the shadow of Mount Fuji, there was a very popular romance novel, almost like in the popularity of like Romeo and Juliet in our culture, but the two lovers killed themselves in this forest in Japan. So now, like when people are wanting to commit suicide,
Oh my God.
most suicides, I guess in the area, they just drive up to that place, abandon their car, wander off into this huge forest and hang themselves. But the crazy thing is a lot of people aren't sure if they want to kill themselves, so they bring a string, like a colored string, and they'll tie it around a tree when they enter and use it as a way to find their way back out if they change their minds. So it's like a spider web in there, in this massive forest of colored string, and like there's just dead bodies. Like you'll find skeletons and everything.
Yeah, if you pick a string and follow it, 9 times out of 10 will lead to a body.
That's so crazy. I mean, like, Japan's culture of suicide, I had no idea that, I mean, like, you know, if it amounts to a bunch of dead college students, I mean, like, I understand that, but I had no idea that something like that, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's basically like, imagine if in Romeo and Juliet, instead of, in just some random church killing themselves, it happened in a specific location. It would be a hub for suicides.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
So you can actually ways like into the forest. If you walk down the path, there are even signs people have left that say, it's not worth it. Think about the people who love you. Don't kill yourself. Like trying to get people to stop doing it. But
I mean, honestly, ghost-wise, it's probably just filled with a bunch of mopey ghosts, if there are any.
Yeah.
Because those are the people in there. You
Right.
know? That's the energy.
Jeez.
Sounds like a delightful summer home place.
Yeah, Briggs, you should check that out.
Yeah,
I bet the property
go out
costs
there.
pretty
Maybe use the facilities.
Go try it out, Briggs. I mean, I could use some bone furniture. Just go out and
that's another. That you make another good point. There's the Sedlak ossuary.
Yeah.
That's another one where everything's made of human
bones
remains.
and skeletons. So what was that? It was an island in off the coast of Italy, I want to say.
I don't remember honestly.
Yeah,
But it's pretty cool. The pictures of it, at least. I don't know. We go to Europe, we don't go anywhere cool. That's the problem.
Just
boring.
Paris catacombs.
Well, when you say catacombs, I hear sewers, graves. That's not cool to me. That's dirt and poo, and it's the poo of French people.
There's one large sort of, I feel, glaring eyesore in the department of haunted Orlando things that you guys have yet to confront, and that is the I-4 dead zone. I'm sure you guys must be familiar with it. It's a space on Interstate 4 between Orlando and Daytona where the graves of settlers who died of yellow fever in the 1800s, I-4 was built atop their graves. They were supposed to be moved, and they weren't. They were the cause of all kinds of weird disturbances prior to I-4 and following I-4.
Traffic sucks now.
Yeah, traffic sucks on I-4 anyway, but it's particularly bad there. There's lots of automotive fatalities. The day that I-4 opened, a truck jackknifed exactly there. I mean, that seems like you would be doing a huge service to the entire state if you tackled that.
Well, the real limitation of our job is if there's not an entity, like a physical entity, or at least, seemingly physical, manifests in a bodily form, then there's not really much we could do about it, to be honest. We can measure it and affirm people's fears, and that's about it. And that would probably do more harm than good.
If we go out there and say, yeah, this actually spikes the needle, nothing we can bust, but have fun driving through here, everyone. That may cause more problems.
Just cause panic.
You know what we could do? Get a
I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Okay.
Those bus. Is that what you were gonna say?
No.
Just tell me that's
What was he gonna say?
Bust a ghost. We're gonna ghost bust. That's his plan.
Well, what we do is we install slime sprinklers and get some positive energy out there.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Not only will we have ghosts flipping cars, but slime sliding cars into each other.
No, into the area beneath it.
Under I-4.
I mean, that would be incredibly expensive. You'd have to run something like that by the mayor, and we only really operate off of calls too. So if somebody calls us and says, "Hey, I feel weird in this area," then we can go out. So I guess if you're listening, it's 321-209-2020. If you see it, report it. We'll go out. We'll take some readings, and then we may be asked to do something. But until then, we operate on a case by case basis.
I'm saying I could have, said, let's just go out there with a nuclear accelerator and just overload it. I could have said that, but I didn't.
And we would have stopped you and fired you.
Yeah. And sent you to prison.
We're just about there, guys.
Ready for a boring night.
Yeah.
Well, we've still got 2 more microsode topics to talk about, so I guess this will be the episode break. Stay tuned for part 2 of this episode of Nerdy Show in just a short time, coming out later this October. I'll probably have some words for you after the break, but thanks so much for listening, and stay tuned for more. We're going to talk about horror movies and horror video games with the Ghostbusters while they check out an abandoned hospital with nothing going on. Woo!
All right.
Hey guys, this is Cap. Stay tuned for part 2 of my ride-along with the Ghostbusters coming in a couple weeks. Next week, you can look forward to the long-awaited return of Nerdy Show Book Club, where we talk about the books we've been reading, and also Carl Hyacint's Sick Puppy, which we've read along with the community. That's you guys. Last month's support drive was our most successful of all time ever. Nerdy Show and the entire network are listener-supported, and you guys make us happen, and oh my god, we were overwhelmed with the outpouring. In next week's episode, we're going to give shout-outs to the last round of contributors from that and all the new blood from this month so far. If you like what you heard, please support Nerdy Show. Go to our main page and click the red support button on the right-hand side. We need to make at least $300 a month to meet our basic costs for running the network, but we give you all kinds of amazing perks just for contributing any dollar amount, and last month was a doozy, so you guys unlocked a ton of amazing perks, including the unreleased non-canon episode of D&D, outtakes and alternate takes from that very same non-canon D&D episode. An impromptu microsode we recorded that isn't really a microsode in format exactly, but it's 15 minutes of conversation, and we talk about Popeye, Mario, and Yowie. Also, outtakes from the episode where we interviewed Travis Beecham, including some cut stuff with him. And this month, what we're giving to everybody who donates to the show are outtakes from our Mutant League Football and GTA 5 episode. But we have a stretch goal at 600, and that is quite a doozy. It's 13 minutes from our Nerdy Show Prime episode with the Proto-Men, including some spooky talk about the always mysterious Denver airport. We have a preview clip that we'll link to on this episode's page. We hope you guys will be coming out to see us October 18th, 19th, and 20th at Nerdapalooza, the world's largest nerd music festival, where a ton of Nerdy Show's hosts are going to be hosts from all over the network. And we'll have a booth there where you can pick up Nerdy Show merch, including some stuff debuting at Nerdapalooza, and also some choice times where hosts will be congregating around those parts. And for all you listeners out there who aren't local and aren't able to go to Orlando, or even if you aren't able to support the show financially, one thing you can do that we ask everybody who's hearing this to do is we're opening up a Nerdy Show user poll. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what shows you listen to, how you listen to your shows, and basically a bunch of information that we need to make sure that your Nerdy Show experience for all the shows across the network is the best one ever. And that poll's going to be running through the end of the year. So keep an eye peeled. See us at Nerdapalooza if you can. Get excited for book club next week. And after that, part 2 of our Halloween special, my ride along with the Ghostbusters. It's a heck of a ride, guys. Believe me.
Hey bro, thanks for listening to Nerdy Show. Nerdy Show is made possible by A Comic Shop, Nerdapalooza, and the generous support of listeners like you. As listener-supported entertainment, we rely on you to keep this and other shows on the Nerdy Show network alive by telling a friend and rating and reviewing us on iTunes or making a contribution to our monthly support drives, right? You can subscribe to all our totally tubular Nerdy Show podcasts via the iTunes store, and for the latest news, follow us on all your favorite social networks. Yay!